good morning. I'm Raleigh Brown. This is Curve Flattening Concert number 756 over the last 5.5 years since the beginning of the pandemic. And I'm here with Charlie the dog. He's over in his usual hidden place there, but I'll show you this morning's picture of Charlie taken out in the backyard recently. And then I'll say some hellos. Well, I'll say some hellos first. So I see that Dave Van Allen is here on YouTube. Tom Dietz, the birthday boy. It's Tom's birthday today. And he has a request in here, which will be the second song. And Tom is an old friend from Kent, Ohio, and therefore the song will relate to Kent, Ohio. And Steve Walker's here in the Lehigh Valley, and Michael Tierson over there in New Jersey, and Bob McKenna in Chelsea in New York City, and Charlie Bryant in the People's Republic of Montgomery County in Maryland, and Heidi McClure out there in Colorado, and Slim Edelman in Tucson. Jim Greco got here on time because he has the first request today. He made it in. And Diane Desmond is here from Vermont. And Bernd Bookman, thanks for your note, Bernd. I got that last night. And Ken Nashif, and in the great Northwest up there near Seattle. Carol Pred in Mentor, Ohio. Warren and Janelle in South Euclid, Ohio. Linda Worcester in Western Mass. Rhonda Scott Merrick in the Chicago area. And Howard Hobbs in Minneapolis. And Deb Levy Clark in Ambler, PA. Hello to you all. And here is your daily shot of Charlie the dog. There he is, looking just a little passive-aggressive today out in the backyard. He's like, "You're taking my picture again, Dad? Jeez, leave me be." And but he got a treat, so he's got no complaints. So there's Charlie for you. He's a good boy. He's been a really good dog lately, except for the occasional little slip. Here's the cloinkophonic mug, and I will cloink you in honor of my old friend Guy Davis, also known as the Kokomo Kid. So when the pandemic began 5.5 years ago, there were a lot of people doing live streams, but among my friends, there were 4 of us. There was me, Guy Davis, who was doing it under the name the Kokomo Kid, and Alex Bevan out there in Ohio, who's one of my dearest, oldest friends, and Cozy Sheridan up in Harrisville, New Hampshire, and Moab, Utah, and wherever else she happens to take her little peripatetic self. Anyhow, Cozy is still doing them, and I'm still doing them. Guy is back on the road and probably too busy to be doing them. Alex does one once in a while, but mostly plays live. But we're all still out there doing our best to make the world a happier place. And Oretta and Ron are here, and Jeanette Pasqua, who recently also had a birthday, and Sharon Saki Lips up there in East Chatham, New York, with Peter Lips, her husband. And John Hubner is here, an old friend of those guys as well as me. And I think that's everything. But so the first one today, this is Jim Greco's request, and this is one of the early guitar instrumentals which really knocked me out. That wasn't by like an old blues man or something, and instead it was on a rock and roll album. It was on the album Surrealistic Pillow by the Jefferson Airplane. And Jorma Kaukonen, the guitarist for the Airplane, wrote this guitar instrumental. He was, unbeknownst to me at the time, he was a secret folkie. He had been a folkie, and he is a folkie again now. And you can find him online and in live performance too. So this is called Embryonic Journey. We'll see how it goes here. embryonic journey from the playing and writing of Jorma Kaukonen of the Jefferson Airplane and later of Hot Tuna. And let me see, Kathy Craws here from up in Canada. Hi, Kathy. And Lori Payne out there in Ohio. And Denny Oliver in Kent. Hey, buddy. And Karen Beatty, my dear friend, listening on the train between the shore and New York City. Karen has a place at the shore and she has a place in Greenwich Village. She actually lives in an apartment that used to belong to Tom Rush. Tom Rush used to live there. And she used to get his mail after he left. He was just in town here a couple days ago, but I didn't get to go see him. Tim G is here on YouTube, and Carol Pred is, I think I said hi to. And Michael Clark from up there west of Boston. And Jake on YouTube. And he says, I heard your song Resurrection for the first time. And I'm not going to play Resurrection today, Jake, but I'm going to play another instrumental from that era, which I really like. And stick around. We'll see if I can get through that one. And Frank Mato is here from Euclid, Ohio. Gene Galligan is here down probably on the Chesapeake Bay. And I think, did I miss anybody? There's a lot of people checking in. Barry Levin is here, another old Kentie. And Barry Levin said, some discussion this week whether you made it to Woodstock. Were you there? Yes. I was there with John Hubner and Jim Moore. And John is right on here. He will confirm that we were both there, even though our remembrances of it vary wildly. So when we get together, John tells me all sorts of things. I go, I don't remember that. He's got a better memory about it than I do. And so we've been talking a little bit about Old Kent people. Barry's an Old Kent person, old, and also was at Kent. And the summer after the murders by the National Guard at Kent, we lived in a house on the corner of Brady and DePeyster Streets. And Tom Dietz also had friends who were in that house at a different time. And I wrote a song about when we left that house. It was a really complicated time in our lives. We were, college kids. We were 19, 20 years old. And we had just witnessed our government shoot our friends and kill some of them. And we were all wondering what to do with our lives. And so we stayed in this house for the summer, and did what kids do: ate pizza and took drugs and played music. And on that street, a couple doors down, there was a school that had a bell that rang, and that's where one of the main themes of this song came from. So this is called the Brady Street Hotel. Ring the golden bells of laughter, ring 'em loud, ring the chimes of music. The silence hangs here like a shroud. Checking out of the Brady Street Hotel. You know, these empty rooms have served us well. Now pictures just keep drifting through my head. The happiness and sadness, the warm hours spent just talking in your bed. Checking out of the Brady Street Hotel. You know, these empty rooms have served us well. We came here for the summer, now it's fall. All the parties and the madness. You know, these rooms, they just smiled upon it all. But now no more the golden tolling bell. The time has come to bid this home farewell. So ring the golden bells of laughter, ring 'em loud. Ring the silver bells of music. The silence hangs here like a shroud. Checking out of the Brady Street Hotel. The Brady Street Hotel. You get old and you reminisce sometimes. Actually, we're going to do this at the second fret. So next up, this is an instrumental I wrote, probably 25 years ago, I guess. I don't keep track very well anymore, so... it's called The Bedouin, and it's, in some ways, it's similar to Resurrection, the one that I think his name was Jake asked about. And I may play that one on here one of these days soon. But you'll have to settle for The Bedouin for today. Let's see how we do. And I'm experimenting with something today. So just a little bit of history. When I first started playing the guitar, I played with, my fingernails and my thumb, bare thumb. And a couple of years in, 3 or 4 years in, I really badly broke a nail, and I thought, oh God, I'm not going to be able to play for weeks. So I got some finger picks and started playing with finger picks. And by the time my nail grew back, I was so used to playing with finger picks that I played with them for the next 25 years or so. And so like when I played Embryonic Journey earlier, I was wearing finger picks and a thumb pick. And then I started having trouble with my hands, and I quit using picks because I thought I was more accurate with bare fingers, and that's been great. But recently I've been thinking about a lot of my friends who are good finger stylists play with just a thumb pick and their fingers and their nails. And so I'm trying that out today and seeing if that works for me. I get a little more bass volume. I think it's not quite as soft a sound. So I'd be curious, those of you who are regulars here, let me know how you think the guitar sounds today. And so here's The Bedouin. Let's try that again. So that's the Bedouin, and that was named in honor of a character or a kind of concept in the John Irving novel Cider House Rules, which is still a great book and comes down very firmly on the side of women having rights to do what they want with their own bodies, something which has oddly come into question in what we would have thought was a modern world. So anyhow, I digress. So announcements. We said happy birthday to Tom Dietz, and I will have some gigs coming up. I'll be at the Percy Patchworks Coffee House on October 11th. So that's still a couple months off. Not even 2 months, a month and a half. And I will be joined with my good friends Magpie, Greg Archner and Terry Leonino, and they will come down from their little Magpie's nest up in upstate New York, and I will do a show, and they will do a show, and I will probably back them up on guitar during their show. And so if you're in the southeast Pennsylvania area, put that on your calendar, October 11th. And also November 8th, I will be at Ann Mintz's house, and in the Mount Airy section of Philadelphia for a house concert. And Ann and her husband Cliff Wagner put on a series of wonderful house concerts. They usually do about one a month, and some of the greatest musicians who are at the level that we consider to be more successful artistically than monetarily. Many of them pass through and do shows here. So for that one, I'll be doing a solo show by myself. So there are invisibles here, people who do not show up on my feed, and they include George Young of Winter Garden, Florida, Judith Fox of Reston, Virginia, Mario Prue of Iroquois Falls, Ontario, Canada, and Joel Biget of France. And there is, as always, Venmo and PayPal link there if you'd like to contribute to the Charlie the Dog sustenance fund. How we keep Charlie in dog biscuits and such, bully sticks. And then I always announce what guitar I'm playing, and this guitar was built by the Pre-War Guitars Company of Hillsborough, North Carolina. It is torrified, which means the top has been baked to be to change the molecular structure of the wood to make it more like an old guitar. It ages the wood. And the back and sides are of one of the premier tone woods, Brazilian rosewood, which is beautiful, as well as considered to have one of the most bell-like qualities tonally. And then on the schedule, I am here with you now. Monday, I do not know who's on. Tuesday, Cozy Sheridan is up at Sam W. doing week 2, along with my good friend Mark Cosgrove and many other friends of mine, and of course her husband, Charlie Koch. And I wish them well. I hope they have a great week up there. We had a great week 1 this year. And I see Barry Gray is here. He couldn't make it this year, and I'm sorry, because he's always a great person to have there. And Bunny Barnes is here. And who else am I missing? Tim G. from Detroit. And Mike Schnabel up in the Lehigh Valley. And thanks, Jake. I'm glad you liked that instrumental. And who else am I missing here? I think I said hi to most of you. If I miss anybody, you have my sincere apologies. John Sprouse is here, and Audrey Bernheimer, just back from Oregon. She just got back in time to hear her request, which will be the last song of the day. So anyhow, we should get on with it here. This was a request from Rhonda Scott Merrick, and I've played it before. My buddy Ken Ulansey and his playing partner, Phyllis Chappelle, who's a wonderful singer and guitarist, play it, and I've played a little backup guitar on them. So Rhonda requested this one. which those guys do, and I'm going to kind of see if I can get through it here. So it's called, and you know what I recommend? Go on YouTube and find, it's called If I Were a Bell, and find the Marlon Brando, Gene Simmons cut from the movie of Guys and Dolls where she sings it. She is so fucking adorable. It's unbelievable. Because she's, in the movie, she's drunk and she's singing this song. So, give you a little context. But I've watched it about 10 times because it's just ridiculously funny. If I Were a Bell, from the show Guys and Dolls. I think that's the show. So next up, this is a request from Barry Gray. And he sent me a note, and he bribed me into playing this, which I really appreciate. And this is a this was a crossover hit for a guy named Ralph McTell, who was basically a fancy guitar player in England, kind of part of that whole group of people that included Bert Jansch and John Renbourn and Davy Graham and all these great guitarists. And he was also a songwriter, and he wrote this song, which ended up becoming a pop hit. He stole the chord progression from the tune that has been played at so many weddings, Pachelbel's Canon in D. And we're actually playing in D today, so it's just perfect. Have you seen the old man in the closed-down market, picking up the papers in his worn-out shoes? In his eyes you see no pride, held loosely at his side. Yesterday's papers telling yesterday's news. So how can you tell me that you're lonely? Say for you the sun don't shine. Let me take you by the hand, lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. And have you seen the old girl who walks the streets of London? Dirt in her hair and her clothes in rags. She's no time for talking, just goes right on walking, carrying her home in 2 carrier bags. How can you tell me you're lonely? Say for you the sun don't shine. Let me take you by the hand, lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. And in the night cafe at 11:15, the same old man sitting there on his own, looking at the world over the rim of a teacup, and each cup lasts an hour, then he wanders home alone. So how can you tell me you're lonely? Say for you the sun don't shine. Let me take you by the hand, lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something, make you change your mind. And have you seen the old man outside the Seaman's Mission? Memory fading with the medals that he wore. And in the winter city, the rain cries with little pity for one more forgotten hero in a world that doesn't care. So how can you tell me you're lonely? Say for you the sun don't shine. Let me take you by the hand, lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something might make you change your mind. Let me take you by the hand, lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something, make you change your mind. Streets of London by Ralph McTell. So I have one more for you today. Audrey Bernheimer requested Salt Creek, which is a fiddle tune, which means I have to try to get my flat picking hand warmed up in a hurry here. I might start out slow and then kick it up. And my favorite fiddle tune to play is called The Red-Haired Boy. And these are 2 tunes which usually you don't play together because you bump from one into the other because they're so similar. So I might do them as a medley. I don't know which part of which will be there. So let me say a couple more hellos. Barry, you're welcome. I was glad to do that for you, and I do love that song. I just don't play it that often. And John Ferrulo is here on YouTube. John's a great singer-songwriter from up in Massachusetts. and Pam Zappardino down there in Maryland. Hi, Pam. And a lot of great folks here. Jim Moran from Nashville, Tennessee. Another one of my dog buddies as well as a music buddy. You know, I have to say, and I often tell people this, that having taught for many years at these guitar camps, at Steve Kaufman's camp and at the Swannanoa Gathering, and most happily at Sam W. and at Colorado Roots Music Camp, so many people who started out as students of mine became friends too, and that's a thing of such value to me that it really means a lot, and you realize that it's one of the treasures of life and one of the treasures of being a musician is that you get to meet a lot of people who are because of your music, they're interested in who you might be, and that way, if you are open to that being a two-way street, then you make a lot of great friends. So I love you guys all. Anyhow, this is Salt Creek. that's the Little Red-Haired Boy and Salt Creek mashed together. And I want to thank you, as always, for joining me today. Let me see if I'm missing anybody who showed up late. Michael Miller, I didn't say hi to you. Hi, Michael. And like that. So thank you for joining me. A little mantra for you here. Be happy and be healthy. Be brave and be calm. Be kind, it's a snare. If you get cranky, as my buddy Alex would say, if you get cranky, take a nap. Have a great first part of the week. I'll hope to see you all on Wednesday at 3 p.m. for another show. Take care. Bye-bye.